Good morning and welcome to Frontiers of Knowledge segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. As we always say every week, that there is no limit to new information, new knowledge, and not only that, that the knowledge of the past is so vast that it would take centuries of one's living to understand it, not to say of master it. But the exponential growth of knowledge is something which is adding to the ever widening horizons of knowledge. And that's why we attempt to ensure that some new information is given to you so that your horizons are widened. Cancer is one of the biggest issues facing the world. AIDS, cancer, and superbugs. But cancer's main problem is the detection of it. By the time you can detect it, it's already too late. Biopsies are done, and the biopsies can have their own effect as well. They are very invasive. So, the researchers have developed a new diagnostic device that can attract and trap cancer cells as they migrate to new parts of the body. The biggest problem is cancer in one place. Then there's a mutation of cells. The cells keep on growing. So the University of Michigan has taken up this research and they've come up with a great invention, I'll call it. They have developed cancer traps. Now these traps are planted just below the skin, and these biomarkers can tell if the cancer is there or not. If it's there, whether it's spreading, and not even that, it also can forecast whether it would spread, is preparing to spread or not. So the exponential growth of cancer can be stopped. You know what? The biopsy is a small tissue. A sample of a tissue is taken and analyzed. But it's very unpleasant. So the researchers, when they came up with these implantable traps, so the biomarkers are closer to the surface. It's not as invasive. Now, how do they do it? They have created a synthetic biomaterial that encourages tissues to grow on that. So the biopsies of these growths are taken. It's just under the skin. So very minor scratch and this biomarker can be taken. So while biopsy is an organ like lung, is a very risky procedure, suppose. It's very risky. It can cause even death. Brain biopsy, again, very dangerous. So, as Dr. Leon Shi says, that these scaffolds placed right under the skin are very readily accessible. There's no danger. And they attract immune cells to the cell. Soon after the cancer cells in their body are attracted. And once they're attracted, you know that you are ready for the treatment. This is really something which is going to be a boon to the patients of cancer, and the cancer is spreading very widely. But why be so sad? Because the treatment is there. And then, there's something very interesting. Do you know pineapple is one of the finest fruits available, but if we look at the total production of fruits, pineapple constitutes 20% of the total production of fruits in the world. Every year, 25 million tons of pineapple are harvested, but more than half, that's almost 12 to 13 million tons, is a waste byproduct. leaves, peel, seeds. So the engineers in Singapore and Vietnam, they said that this huge wastage, about 12 million tons every year, what to do with it? At present, what they're doing is just composting it. So they said, let's turn these scraps into something very useful. And they did. And they have made from the pineapple scraps, can you imagine? A sort of cooler for the chilled drinks. And they said this cooler, which they have developed from the waste, is better than the commercial coolers, and it's an excellent use of the waste. So what they have done is they shred all the waste, whether it's leaves, peels, or seeds, and then they put it in a blender with polyvinyl alcohol as an adhesive agent and deionized water as a solvent. Then they treat the mix with ultrasound and heat it in oven at 80 degrees centigrade, just 80 degrees centigrade for 2 hours. Then it's chilled, freeze dried, and a pale gyro aerogel is formed, which is very lightweight, flexible, and 96% of that is porous. And those properties, being porous, lightweight, flexible, makes an ideal insulating material against heat as well as sound. So it can not only be used as a cooler, but can also be used as a filler material for better sound barrier. It can be used even as a filler between the walls so that the heat doesn't come in and the air conditioning costs are less. So they try to wrap this pineapple aerogel around a multi-cell canteen bottle and found that it gives 3 times better thermal insulation than the commercial available ones. 3 times more. And this gel wrapped heated up to 90 degrees can keep it up to 40 degrees for 2.5 hours. And if cooled, it can keep it up to 6 hours. So it's a real great thing. And it also sounds, as I said, as a sound barrier. Noise pollution can be reduced. You can use it to air condition your rooms, make them soundproof, make them heat proof, make them cold proof. This is a sort of a soundproofing panel. So, can anything be better? But I'm just reminded, we talked of the cancer traps. Israelis have gone a step further. What they have done is they have used the stomach cells of the people and made them as implants. You know, when you implant something in the body, your immune system is immediately activated, and many times that implanted organ is rejected. It can be very dangerous. So, Tel Aviv University has come up with a small piece of fat biopsy from the patient. It's engineered to become a tissue implant for a defective organ, including the heart, spine, and the brain. So part of heart has to be implanted as cut, lung has to be implanted. Now they're coming up. Your spinal cord has an injury and a part of that has to be implanted. So they take out the stomach cell. Again, it's quite near the surface, not one, and then use it as a tissue implant so that the same stem cell it becomes regenerates the defective organ. Now, they say that this is the first fully personalized tissue implant made from your own material and cells, and the side effects are zero. The immune response would be zero. Rejection rate would be zero. And as they say, from neurons to cardiac cells to spinal cord cells, and the procedure to create stem cells from the adult cells in the body is well established. It has been done earlier. But now they have converted that these stem cells can be regenerative cells for the body. This is a real achievement. Israelis happen to be very inventive and very innovative. And if I look at the history of Nobel Prizes, the maximum Nobel Prizes, more than 200, have gone to the Israelis. Now they have come up with an electric aeroplane. And this aeroplane is, can you imagine, 70% less operating cost. You build a plane, you fly it, and your cost of operation is 70% less. A turboprop plane, I'm not talking of the big jets, I'm talking of the turboprops for the intercity travel. Say you're going from Calgary to Ottawa, or Toronto to Montreal to Hamilton, Toronto to Ottawa. These small journeys, turbojets are used. So the price cost for those, the cost, operating cost is $1,000 an hour. But this plane would cost $200 an hour. That's it. So operating cost is reduced by up to 70%. And the name of the aeroplane now is Alice. It's a 9-seater aeroplane, as I said, it's intercity traffic. And it has 3 electric motors on its tail and 1 on the tip of each lung. And once you charge this 3,500 kilogram battery can go on for 650 miles. That's almost about 1,000 kilometers. And it can go up to the height of 10,000 feet and go at a cruising speed of 276 miles per hour. That is about 350 kilometers per hour speed. Now you say it's not much, but looking at the cost saving of 200 flight hours as compared to 1,000 flight hours is quite a one. As is matter of fact, is going to be cheaper than a car. So the flying is not going to be ineffective. For short is going to be great. And there's a company in USA, an airways, Cape Air, they call it, is a Massachusetts-based regional airline, operates in 35 cities. They have placed an order. Now the plane has been made, it's in the research lab. It has flown, the test drives have been there, test flights have been there, but it's not commercially produced. And they say, no, we don't mind it, we'll buy it. And they have placed an order for 100 aeroplanes as and when they are ready for commercial production. So you can understand when a commercial airlines go in for such an order, only at the initial stages before even the commercial production started, how useful it's going to be. And now before we end, I'd like to give you a very small nugget, but very interesting one. University of Toronto has come up with a new research. They say you should eat your lunch alone, not in a company. Why? They say according to the research done with them, if you eat lunch as a social being, it results in fatigue. So you need a break to recharge. Your productivity is reduced. Therefore, the important factor is if you want to work, take it alone. And whether an employee is socializing by choice, if you spend 1 hour on lunch in a company of more people, you'll be tired, you'll be fatigued, and your responses would be slow after that. But if you are alone, then the mandatory fun which is there in the socializing would not be there, and you will emerge fully restored and ready to take work for the rest of the day. Interesting, isn't it? Anyway, these were the new bits of information for you today, and we meet again next week for the same purpose. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.